Hey everybody, Jason and John here for Everyday Crypto, sponsored by CryptoTaxShield.com. Jason, I just got back from vacation. I appreciate you jumping on a quick call with me here today.
Hey man, hope you had a good time.
Had a blast. So now that we're sort of getting back into the swing of things, I was looking at the market a little bit today, noticing that Bitcoin is pumping a little bit. It's up a little bit. So I just wanted to kind of set you loose, kind of give us a idea where things are with Bitcoin in particular and sort of crypto as a whole.
Yeah, now if I could please, if you find any educational or entertainment value in this at all, please like and subscribe. It helps us help you. And believe it or not, we are not financial advisors. Please do your own research.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I think Bitcoin right now is around 31.5, something like that. It's doing pretty much what I expect it to be doing for the next few months. It's going to go up and down between 32 and 28, probably until mid-August. And the reason why I say mid-August is because that's when I think the Feds will stop increasing interest rates.
I see.
So right now, they have a June and a July increase coming of what's anticipated to be 50 basis points.
Okay.
Anything lower than that, and you'll see all the markets react positively. Anything over that, you'll see the markets react negatively.
Right.
And all markets are priced in for about a year. So the prices you see in the stock market and crypto now, this is where investors think everything's priced in for the next 12 months.
I see.
So if the Feds turn direction, you'll see the market react. So, but just give you a little idea of the path the Fed is on.
Okay.
If they continue down this path, I think they originally said there'd be 6 interest rate hikes all the way up until 2023. If that's where they land, that's going to put the 30-year mortgage rate somewhere around 8%.
Wow.
So if you were bought pre-Fed increases, you're paying, let's say, for a $600,000 house at, like, this is a 2.5% interest rate, you're paying $1,600 a month.
Right.
At 8%, you're almost doubling that mortgage payment.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I don't think they're going to continue down this path.
Right.
Every percentage rate increase hike on the 30-year mortgage, you usually look at historically a 10% decrease in housing sales.
Right.
And you can see why, right? The mortgage payment's much dramatic, right? Much more dramatic.
Absolutely.
So I'm anticipating after the July increase that they're going to about face and slow it down and say something like, well, inflation has decreased and we're going to take a different route.
Sure.
As far as Bitcoin, though, it's so funny. I was playing poker this weekend, and guys at the table were like, oh, my God, Bitcoin's crashing. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't understand what you're talking about. It's at 30,000. Right. Its all-time high was in the 60s. So, yeah, it's crashed, but so has every stock on Earth, right? I mean, Netflix is down horrendously.
Yep.
Apple, Google, you can name them all off.
For sure. But
here's the thing about Bitcoin that I kind of laugh at when guys say that, is that the first crash of Bitcoin was to $3. Bitcoin crashed to $3, and that was like 12 years ago, right? The next crash was that Bitcoin crashed to $300. Right. The next crash was Bitcoin crashed to $3,000. And now this crashes, Bitcoin has crashed to $30,000.
Right.
So you can see the path it's on, and people just don't seem to notice that although it is very dramatic, dramatic up and dramatic down, if you even out, it's a positive slope that's outpaced every other asset on Earth.
Right.
So if you were to continue down this path, I'd say about 4 years from now, the next crash will be Bitcoin crashed at $300,000.
Right.
And people will still have the same sentiment, like it has crashed. But yeah, I never hear anybody say, oh my God, Netflix has crashed 75%. You never hear that.
Right.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, but it is interesting that it's all about perspective, right? If you bought a Bitcoin or several Bitcoins at $700, 30 grand is fantastic, right? But if you bought it at its peak at 65, yeah, 30 looks like you might as well jump off a bridge, So it's all based on where you came into the game.
That's the thing that me and you have preached, though, right?
Right.
So guys who bought it at 65 were buying at the absolute hype cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas guys like me, when I first started buying in, it was a similar time to this. Nobody was talking crypto. And I was buying in at like anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000.
Right.
But nobody was super bullish on the situation. It was just I saw the opportunity. And once again, I'm seeing the opportunity right now. I'm going to wait until Bitcoin hits around $25,000. I do think there's a little more pain ahead in all the markets. I do think the end of June, early July will be a downward slope.
Sure.
But I do think that'll be the last downward slope. So I'm going to jump back in at 25 and then ride this thing up to 300 or wherever it ends up. And
absolutely.
But that's the whole thing, right? It's hard to buy now.
Right.
Because you hear your neighbors say things like, it's crashing, it's so bad, da, da, da. Whereas the smart guys, like if you look at the on-chain analytics, the whales who own billions of dollars of Bitcoin, they've not sold any. And in fact, they keep buying at these prices. But what do you think they know? Right. So these guys are clearly billionaires. They clearly have access to the world's smartest mathematicians and economists and whoever else. So they're being told something different than what the guy at the card table is saying. Right.
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that's really I think that's what's going on.
Yeah. I think people need to take a breath and realize that ultimately, if you end up at 300, 500,000 per coin, even if you bought in at 65, you're going to be okay. You just got to ride that. You just got to ride those ups and downs,
Think about something else. So I saw a graph the other day of all the world's currencies inflations for this year.
Right.
And America's actually doing very well in comparison to those, although we are feeling inflation.
Sure.
But most other countries are seeing numbers like 70, 80% inflation rates, where we really are at 7 to 8%.
Right.
That's dramatic on its own, 7 or 8%. But the countries that are feeling that 70 or 80% interest rate or inflation rate on their currencies,
right?
What path do you think they are going to take?
Yep.
If Bitcoin is the deflationary asset that answers all these problems, that's the whole selling point of Bitcoin. People understand. You can't print off more. It's 21 million will ever only exist. 19 million are currently in existence. The next 2 million will take 120 years to come into existence.
Right.
And now the 19 million that are in existence today, only 2 million are available for sale.
Right.
Now your currency doesn't work that way. Your currency is printed off to oblivion until they have to kill it.
Right.
In the history of mankind, 0 currencies have made it. Right. 0 out of the thousands that have been created. Eventually, they all die. The American dollar will last longer than the rest of them because we are the world standard. But the rest of them, like all the currencies in Africa, South America, all these currencies are 80%. You can't reverse 80% inflation.
Right.
There's nothing you can do. It's just a downward spiral. So, the thesis still holds true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So let's pivot a little bit. I saw some stuff going on today, and I'm certainly not the expert, but I saw some stuff going on with StrongBlock, and I just kind of want to get your take on what might be sort of happening in that realm.
Yeah, right. So StrongBlock, about I think it was last week, they came out and announced out of nowhere that they're going to cap the amount of rewards per node at 20 strong coins.
Okay.
Whereas prior to that announcement, it was infinite. So if you owned a StrongBlock node, just like any other node that you own, it generates daily passive income as long as the project is still alive.
Sure.
Now, I know why they did this. They did this because there's too much selling pressure on the coin, and the coin was losing its value too dramatically. So I understand why they did it. I just don't like the way they did it. I see. They didn't give the public any kind of heads up that they were going to go this path. So guys like me, I was all right. I invested so early. I made profit on it. It doesn't really affect me.
Right.
The guys that came in, let's just say in the last 2 weeks or a month, this makes their situation a losing proposition.
I see.
I mean, there is a strategy still. So you're going to get 10 strong coins per node. and it only costs 10 coins to create a new node. So what you could do is you could take the 20, get your money back, put the 10 into a new one, take 10 profit, get a new one, take 10 profit. And I think that probably would do just fine.
Right.
But my personal beef with the situation is that they had a very strong community. And they always promised that they would listen to the community, and they did this out of nowhere.
I see. Yeah.
And once you lose trust with your community, it's really hard to gain it back. And I don't know if they're going to. This was a pretty dramatic shift. And I feel bad for the guys who got in the last 2 weeks or so, because they weren't aware of this information. And I feel like I don't know if you could sue StrongBlock. I know there's talks of a class action lawsuit.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
But I feel like they could have done it better.
I see. So I mean, is it more just a PR thing, or is there? I mean, I guess there's real loss of value and loss of potential, I guess, by changing sort of the rules at the last second, or or maybe it comes across as a rug pull or something along those lines.
So a node in general is so on the blockchain and crypto. Everything's on blockchain technology,
right?
A node verifies transactions. So when money's sent on Bitcoin, a node somewhere verifies that and gets rewarded in Bitcoin. That's how Bitcoin comes into existence. This was the whole plan for StrongBlock. They were going to have all these nodes, and they were going to build out a whole chain, and the nodes would verify transactions and be rewarded as such. That was a great plan. I don't know why they pivoted. I think they could have done things so much better, and I think they're going to regret the way they handled this situation. I think they really do.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, just as people who are sort of into this world, we'll just have to kind of keep watch, and with everything. I mean, maybe there's some opportunity down the line. Once they sort of figure things out. So,
I get asked a lot: was StrongBlock a slow rug pull?
Right.
And I'm hesitant to answer the question because I was an investor, although I profited off of it because I got in so early.
Right.
I don't know. I do not think it was a rug pull. And the reason why I don't think it was is because the founder has such deep roots in other successful crypto projects.
I see.
But with that being said, I can understand why a new investor would feel that way, because the situation they bought in on changed right after they bought it.
Gotcha.
It'd be like you buying a car and they're saying, hey, look, it's a $100,000 bumper to bumper warranty. And then day 3 of driving, they're like, oh, by the way, we're changing that to a $10,000 mile.
Right.
It's along those lines. So
gotcha.
I don't think it was intentional. I do think that StrongBlock was just trying to stop the decreasing price of the coin. Because if they would have stayed on that same path, the coin eventually would just kept going closer and closer to zero, which would have killed the project. So they had to do something. I just personally wish they would have done something else.
Sure. Yeah, maybe a lot of these. I mean, a lot of these other projects will have to sort of learn from their peers to avoid maybe doing that stuff down the road. So, yeah.
But with that being said, right? You buy a stock. Let's just say you buy stock X, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
They can always issue more stock, which dilutes your shares. No one really freaks out about that because they don't really know.
Right.
But it happens all the time. It happens every day. So, you got to remember, crypto is so new. It's a technology. It's not a fad. It's not a phase. It's not a currency. It's a technology. It's blockchain technology.
Right.
It's going to change the world in more ways than even I could possibly imagine. But all these projects, like StrongBlock, they are experiments. They really are, because they're in uncharted territories. It's like Google when it first started out. No one knew what a search engine was, and no one knew if that would succeed to the magnitude that it did.
Sure.
But yet it has. So I think crypto's on the same area. Like 1997, during the internet, early stages of the internet, you had so many projects that were just experiments. And the ones that made it are insanely valuable. And the ones that didn't aren't. And that's crypto. It really
Right.
is. I think 95% of projects are probably going to fail because of some sort of imperfection in the experiment itself. But the ones that succeed, like Bitcoin, are insanely valuable.
Gotcha. Well, I got to tell you, this is great info, man. I appreciate you taking some time with me, Jason. We're going to do another one of these soon. Yeah, good stuff, and appreciate everybody, subscribing and liking, and let's do another one of these in the next couple of days.
You got it, John. As always, I appreciate you, man.
Not a problem. Take care, my friend.
You got it.